Doug Collins, the aforementioned former Georgia congressman, kind enough to wait all of this out. Congressman, always good seeing you. What do you make of this drama building right now?
I make it as it's almost a 10-year, probably even 12-year building up. This has been coming on for a long time. This is something I've not heard any commentator, anybody talking about. This has been something that's been festering in the Republican conference for at least 10 years. And it rises a little bit. We see it often at the speaker vote, and it comes up in other ways as well. And this is the concern that right now they're having is that, again, now they're nominating Byron Donalds. We'll see what else. I think, we're seeing if this is an in play. But really, at this point, it seems very personal to the 19 at least, or maybe even 20 now, that are against McCarthy. It's not about policy. It's not about getting anything. This is personal. And frankly, they have nothing to lose just to continue sticking where they're at, especially on a personal line like this.
Doug, one thing that I've always enjoyed about you, you put away all the consensus thoughts that are out there, and you look at what the challenge is. And I try to do that myself, and I think about, I hear from Kevin McCarthy and his supporters, got 90% of the support, 90% of the support. And again, I'm not as smart at this stuff as you are, but I think, well, you don't win the presidency with 90% of the 270 electoral votes. You need 270 electoral votes. So it's not about how much support you have, but whether it gets you to the finish line. Say what you will, and close as it is not, after 3 tries, getting Kevin McCarthy close to the finish line. It's all about that 218, and he ain't there.
Exactly. Neil, I don't know if you had a chance to look at the screen, and I did briefly while I was listening to Chad, and I love Chad's scenarios, but a lot of those scenarios to make Hakeem Jeffries speaker, it's not going to happen. It's a floating issue. I do know Chip Roy and many of those met with the parliamentarians before this ever started a week or two ago. They know the barriers that they have to bump up to in this. But if you noticed on the screen, all of the 19 or so, it looked like at least a lot of them were sitting together, and Byron Donalds was close to them.
Well, that's interesting.
That indicates to me that this vote's going to be very similar. This is going to be a very similar vote.
This would be a fourth vote, to your point.
Yep.
That would be a failed vote for Kevin McCarthy. In other words, that group of 19 or 20 ain't going anywhere.
Right, exactly right. And so, again, some of this, though, you got to remember, Kevin McCarthy, and just from just a stand-back position, I've known Kevin well. I think, he's done everything that you normally would do to be the speaker. But he thought his margin were going to be a lot bigger. He thought he was going to be 15 to 20, maybe even 25 member majority here. And that would have given him more of a shot. You don't have to get so close to the vest, right? Yeah. Exactly. So that's why he didn't, I've heard a lot of the Freedom Caucus say, well, he wouldn't talk to us in the summer. He wouldn't do that. Well, and to his I guess two different points here. He could have talked to them then, may not have liked what they said, but if he thought he was going to have enough votes where it wouldn't matter, there's no sense engaging. Well, as soon as it became fact that they only had 4 votes to deal with, this is what's happened over the past 10 years. That 4 votes, or the 5th vote that puts them over, is the problem. And again, my fear, let's take a look down the road, Neil. We've got big issues coming up. We got immigration. We got economics. We got a 12 appropriations bill. And by the way, if the Republicans can't pass 12 appropriations bills and find 218 votes, then I want them to quit griping about the way that the appropriations process is. I said this while I was there. I still say it again. But if you can't get these votes right now and come together, Neil, where are we going to be on votes that actually are policy votes that matter?
That's a very good point. Doug, another thing I wanted to ask, I know you dismiss the idea of Hakeem Jeffries, even that holding firm at 212 votes and you need 218, they could stumble, Republicans could stumble, or there are even Congressman like Gaetz of Florida who'd say that, I'm just quoting Chad here, who'd be fine with Hakeem over Kevin McCarthy. You got a couple of other Republicans who Gaetz woos to that same point of view. What do you think?
Yeah, no, look, I think Matt is speaking for his own personal belief that would be true. But look, they understand. There are people on the floor, especially with the 19 or 20, who have been looking at the rules. Roy, there's others out there as well that are very good rules. I always believe that the person who knows the rules can run the House, because if you know the rules, you can get by with it. There are people down there that would keep it from happening. Look, I know Hakeem Jeffries well. I do not want him to be Speaker. Especially with a Republican majority, and that wouldn't last very long. So again, they're going to have to watch it. Yes, the question will be:
sorry,
how
Doug,
many
when you
Democrats...
say it wouldn't last very long. By the way, a vote is ensued. This is the 4th vote for Speaker. Take a look at that others column there. Right now, 0. I think we got about a third of the way through the process. At that point, we were up to 5 congressmen who were among the others. In other words, not McCarthy, and his bid had failed. But that it wouldn't last, to your point, if there is a possibility Joaquin could get in there. I very unlikely, to your point. But could they try to topple him?
It could also snow on. Yeah, I mean, look, it could also snow on Christmas here in Gainesville, Georgia. The likelihood of that is like 1% every 100 years. So, I mean, I want to negate the fact it's great for the sitting around the coffee pot and seeing how it's going to work. I just tend to deal more with what the reality is, and this is reality at this point. It's going to be interesting. You're now starting to see the votes because they're not right at the very top. There's a lot of numbers there. This is just going to be an interesting point. I think they're going to have to watch it. But my question here is this: if Democrats don't show back up, okay, which is the more interesting scenario, they don't start showing back up, which lowers the threshold for McCarthy and also takes away votes from Jeffries, then the argument will be McCarthy had to turn to Democrats to get elected.
All right, we are now at a point where we have one Republican, not presumably two now.
Two.
Not going at the rate we're going. We're very early in the roll call. There are, quite a few to go through. 434 total members right now. I don't know if it's going to be all 434 voting here. But again, that's how close it is for Kevin McCarthy. Let's say this fourth vote, though, Doug, doesn't go his way. Now, you reminded me they can keep voting, but there is a point of diminishing return, is there not?
It is. It is. And right now he's at 3. He's only got 2 more left. I'll guarantee you that before you and I are talking, it'll be done. This will be 5 votes more. Now, if it ends up at only 12, then that's an accomplishment. McCarthy can go back and say, look, I got it down to 12 no votes against me. I only got to get 7 more now. But if it's at 19 or 20, and especially with the personal animus this has become, look, they've not agreed to anything. These folks are just, if you listen to even some of the, and these are friends of mine on both sides of this, but it has just become now they don't trust the Chip Roys, the Matt Gaetz, the Lauren Boeberts, the others of the world just don't trust Kevin McCarthy. And look, that's sad that we've come to this conclusion that we're fighting this out in public. But I mean, we're at 4 votes now. It's done. I mean, this is done. So unless he can show improvement right here, Kevin has got a really hard road to go up. And remember, these are folks who now, Donald Trump's came back out and endorsed him again. Look, they're not even listening to that, folks. So that tells me this is not any more about policy or position. This is more about personalities. And they felt disrespected in some ways by McCarthy, so they're not going to turn. If you voted 4 times against Kevin McCarthy now, Neil, what is your benefit if you gain nothing by voting for him?
That's an excellent point. 43 have voted in around there. We've got 434 who would, and we're already at 4 who have found an alternative to Kevin McCarthy. We don't know how that breaks down. We'll find out afterwards here. We're going to keep watching this. If it gets to 5, you'll know that this has formally failed. But Doug, I'm just wondering then, is there some backroom maneuvering here among those 19 or 20, whatever it ends up being, or maybe, as I was pushing with Chad, not necessarily entirely facetious way, as they do with an enclave when they meet after a pope passes away, where others are emerging. We heard a lot already about others emerging, including this Byron Donalds, of Florida. And we're seeing more of that. Will we see more of that?
Yeah, I think you could. I think here's 2 scenarios I want to lay out for you. Number one, it's almost, and I come from a background of counseling, but on military and also in business. If you're negotiating with somebody who doesn't care about what is being negotiated, in other words, they're willing to do away with the hostage. If they're willing to do away with the hostage, there is no negotiating there. It is simply give me what I want or I don't care. It looks like that is becoming the role of these 19 here. They don't want to negotiate. Either give me what I want, and they're just out. And McCarthy's not going to do that. So McCarthy, and if he does give that up, he's going to have a lot of problems with his own conference because it's giving up way more than any of the others who are absolutely furious at this point being. Second point, Neil, here's an interesting point for you. If, let's just say that after this round, McCarthy says, I'm done, I want to have, I'll just say Steve Scalise I'm going to endorse Steve Scalise. McCarthy drops out and endorses Steve Scalise. the question is do these same 19, with no further indication, rules change or anything else, do they now vote for Steve Scalise, or do they now take down a second nominee? I think that whoever else comes next is probably going to be the speaker, whoever it may be, because this is what we saw with John Boehner. Everybody said, well, there's no replacement. When Kevin stepped aside, there's no replacement. 2.5 weeks later, it was Paul Ryan who said, I didn't want to do this. And then many of the same ones who then were against everything that even Paul stood for voted for him. And then it began a real problematic couple of 3 years there. So there's two scenarios that you have to deal with here that is very, very frustrating. It has to be for the McCarthy folks who've worked so long to get there. And let's not forget, 200 other members of the Republican Party say we need to get on to what we were sent here to do, and now they're frustrated. Remember, when it gets to these legislation issues later, these others that they're against, the ones who you're not hearing from now, the ones on the Main Street Caucus, the ones on the Tuesday group, which are more business-oriented mindset, they can then hold up bills as well. This is the problem you've got right now. It is not a good look.
All right, and as you said, and as you predicted, 5 votes now against Kevin McCarthy, so the fourth time is not the charm.